If you have been a frequent viewer of my channel, you are aware of my love for things Elon. Since I haven't mentioned his dull firm in a long, I finally have some significant news to share with you people. So stay with me as I walk you through this significant upgrade and what it might mean going forward for underground transportation. What business is Boring? You would be excused if you were unfamiliar with the Boring Corporation, since unlike Tesla and SpaceX, not many people are aware of Elon's endeavor. In any case, the Boring Company does just that, as the name implies. And no, it doesn't bore people. Instead, it drills vast transportation tunnels under the soil. Elon, you see, thinks tunneling is the answer to the gridlock in traffic that most cities experience. He thinks that vast underground networks of tunnels zigzagging beneath our urban landscapes will be the site of the next generation of terrestrial transportation. And the Boring firm has been working toward that objective since 2016 in an effort to remove traffic from crowded streets and urban areas so that consumers may save time, fuel, and money. What then is this significant development that the Boring Company has announced? The business reported in late April that it had raised an additional $675 million in a Series C investment round, bringing its valuation to an astounding $5.675 billion. But what accomplishments has the uninteresting company made to merit such a hefty valuation? To find out the answers to these questions, do they even have a functioning service or proof of concept that can be released to the general public? Keep watching to the very end. It's going to be a lot of fun. What is monotonous business has so far achieved? As you might anticipate from a business controlled by Elon Musk, the Boring Company began with some ambitious goals. Yet, after operating for 5 or so years, expectations have somewhat diminished. Don't get me wrong, the company has made some great strides despite the fact that it is still in its early stages. Yet, it is taking longer than anticipated for the initial promises to be fulfilled. The company initially generated interest due to its plans to build the necessary infrastructure for a Hyperloop system that will enable autonomous electric pods to carry people at speeds of up to 600 miles per hour. Even though the business has carried out numerous experiments, Hyperloop is still only a concept at this point, and a working prototype won't be ready for several more years. As a result, the company has forced to change its focus to more practical initiatives. The focus has since shifted from Hyperloops to autonomous Teslas in tunnels. The Las Vegas Convention Center Loop, often known as the LVCC Loop, is the sole project it has so far finished. It is a 3-station transit system with 1.7 miles of tunnel that was created to move people between the various stations. The Loop, which was the company's first proof of concept for tunnel-driving Teslas, went into service in April 2021. For the time being, Teslas driven by humans and traveling at a top speed of 40 miles per hour provide the Loop service. It significantly improves upon the previous transportation scenario, although falling well short of the company's early dreams of self-driving automobiles traveling at speeds of up to 150 miles per hour moving to and from surface streets in automated elevators. The Loop links the west of the LVCC with only the current campus. A 45-minute cross-campus commute may be completed in around 2 minutes. It can carry anywhere from 15,000 to 25,000 passengers per day at peak convention times. The project cost about $47 million and was finished in a year. However, despite being far from the project's ultimate goal of completely autonomous Teslas transporting passengers at high speeds, it was sufficient for the Las Vegas authorities to not only approve an expansion project to the neighboring global resort, the Vegas Loop, a 29-mile tunnel network connecting 51 stations along the Las Vegas Strip, was, however, unanimously approved by the Clark County Commissioners on October 20, 2021. This has been a huge coup for Elon Musk and the Boring Company, since it is the first commitment to the idea of underground transit from a significant city. After this, cities like Los Angeles, Chicago, and Washington, D.C. have all started to express a keen interest in ideas similar to this for their own cities. The companies has now been open thanks to this. The gate sparked investors' interest once more, resulting in a new round of funding, which is one of the key topics of this film. What will the Dole firm do next? The corporation is aiming to speed its tunneling plans now that it has secured a new round of investment. In order to cut the cost and time involved in building these tunnels, it is also working on creating new technologies. Their most recent remarks indicate that the majority of the new investment will go toward their Vegas Loop project. Nevertheless, a sizable chunk of the funding will also go toward creating the Proof Rock, the company's next-generation boring machine. The boring company essentially purchased a used tunnel boring machine called the Guddu and customized it for their needs for its initial research tunnel project. The corporation again bought a second modified equipment after finishing the first mile-long tunnel. The Linestorm, a second-generation boring machine, would be the company's workhorse for the LVCC loop. Nevertheless, all of this tinkering with used boring machines was preparing for something bigger. The group at base was putting a lot of effort into creating a special, high-powered tunnel boring machine that is entirely electric, 10 times more quickly than any current tunneling machine could mine. The evidence rock. Elon claims that current tunnel boring business is only truly drill for 10 minutes out of every hour. Installation of the reinforcements, soil removal, and deployment of all mining-related logistics take up the remaining 50 minutes. Because to this, current tunneling technology is incredibly ineffective and expensive. The boring company is attempting to triple the total efficiency of tunneling with Proof Rock. The cutter has been altered, create and integrate a system for autonomous segment direction. The company estimates that by designing a system that automatically handles all the strengthening and dirt removal, the speed of boring will increase by 15 times compared to the current best technology. Rockproof early in 2020, one first broke ground, and the business marked the occasion with the tweet "Proof Rock is alive." Since then, the new boring machine has been busy enlarging the LVCC loop. Presently, it will only be utilized for drilling this new network along the 29 miles of the Las Vegas Loop tunnels. The business will keep enhancing the design and releasing future iterations of the Proof Rock. How does the Hyperloop work? Although the business is concentrating on perfecting its Tesla-powered underground transportation concept, it hasn't lost sight of the Hyperloop as its ultimate objective. Immediately after receiving this latest amount of funding in late April, the business tweeted that full-scale Hyperloop testing would start later that year. Elon tweeted that the Boring Corporation would try to construct a functional Hyperloop in the upcoming years, albeit he was oddly in his response. As Twitter users pressed the Boring forum further about a timeline, they were evasive. I feel that the idea is still far from realization, despite the Boring Corporation's continued efforts to generate interest in the Hyperloop. That does not imply that the business is not making progress. There is most likely a team working on it. Nonetheless, I think the business will remain laser-focused on initially realizing its more modest goal of having an autonomous Tesla zigzagging underground at speeds of 150 miles per hour. After all, it requires a fully functional, publicly accessible means of transportation that makes money to support its existence. Valuation for its shareholders. If you stop to think about it, the sooner the business completes the Las Vegas Circle and puts it into use, the better for its credibility and reputation. Although the company has received a great deal of criticism for boasting such a high valuation without having created a single revenue-generating service, there are many people out there. Also, many more city governments across the U.S. will be interested in allowing them to tunnel their streets and have extremely speedy point-to-point transportation in the future if the company is successful in combining quick autonomous Teslas with quick tunneling technology. Transportation. In light of everything that has been said so far, I think the Hyperloop will temporarily take a backseat. But who can say? We all know how swiftly a corporation with Elon's backing can make technological advances. After all, so perhaps before this decade is up, we will get to witness a Hyperloop in operation. How do you feel? Do you concur with my forecast? Please provide your feedback in the box below. Give this video a like and consider subscribing to the channel if you like this update on the Boring Corporation. I'll see you in the next.